I think that probably my own relative success, who knows if I'm successful or not, in communicating with survivors is because I can be also humorous with them. Numerous survivors have said to me, and it's written and they've expressed it elsewhere, we would not have been able to survive without humor. When survivors meet other survivors, they don't cry together. They tell stories and they joke with each other. It's they don't know how to do it with non-survivors. All generalizations are false, including this generalization, but it also has a lot of truth in it. And I remember one survivor who came to see me with his family, and he complains about his daughter that she always asks him for money. And he's wondering what mental illness is behind her expectation and demands of money. And I say to him, maybe she's just a schnorrer. And we both laugh, and it reduces it to another level. So laughter is not necessarily, you know, you break into uncontrollable laughter, but very often.
It's not.
No, I think it's the respect and disrespect is another dimension, and it's to do with the following. I hope that at all time, the thing that I would dread is that anybody I work with would feel that I'm laughing at them. What I hope is that I'm laughing with them. But it's not a laughter that you cannot uncontrollably laugh, but sometimes they or me bring a smile to each other's face. I think in one of the stories that I published in Resilience, it's a story about a couple that keep yelling and fighting with each other. And I say to them at one stage, after they tell me their Holocaust background, I said, maybe this is your way of celebrating the triumph over Hitler. Because when you were in hiding, you had to be quiet the whole time. So now, you let yourself go. When you want to yell, you yell. When you want to scream, you scream. And there was some levity in this, but it may be also deep truth. And sometimes that's what humor does. Sometimes it allows you to say things even though you're not sure, and you could laugh or you could take it seriously, and often both. And that was an example of it. But one example of humor that most people don't get the humor in it, but it's I need to concentrate to tell it properly. One of the most touching things in working with survivors is when you ask the question, tell me, when did you last see your parents? The last memory of the parents. And I ask this survivor, and she tells me the following story. She says she was in one of the death camps with her mother. And I asked her to tell me more about her mother. And she described her mother in the most glowing, positive terms about being so positive and always being with a touch of humor and optimism. And she then tells me that probably her last memory was that they were both basically just walking skeleton. And somehow the mother worked out that this is her daughter's birthday. And she says to her daughter, "Happy birthday." And then she says, "You have beautiful eyes." And in that story, we both smiled and had tears at our eyes at the same time, because it was both. It was tragic. Her mother did not survive, and she did. And she remembered there was a touch of humor, irony, an acknowledgement at the same time. It's awful, but even in the most awful of times, I'm looking for the positive, and that's your eyes. The rest of you looks awful. So, and I've repeated this story a few times, and I could see that lots of people cannot hear the touch of humor in the story. But to me, there was. And so the humor could be very black and terrible humor, but it could be the most subtle of humor. I'll give one more example, because it also takes me to another domain. You, Pauline, certainly know that the Holocaust Center has group of survivors, child survivors, and second generation and descendant of the Holocaust. And every so often they used to ask me to come and facilitate some of the meetings. And one day there was a whole day meeting that I was asked to facilitate. And there were a number of us facilitators. And we started the day, we were on the stage, and the Amcha were in the hall. And we were asked to say a few words, and then there was conversation between the various groups. And I started my part by saying that in some way I'm glad to be here, because what we are about to do is very good, but I have to admit that at the same time I was a bit reluctant to come, and I was a bit upset about coming, because I was in the middle of watching this soccer match and I had to stop in order to come. And then the whole day is a very heavy Holocaust day. And at the end of the day, we are back on stage, the 3 facilitators, and lots of heavy questions are being asked. And then the chairperson is about to conclude the day meeting, and this survivor gets up and says, "Hang on, there is one more question I want to ask." "What is it?" And he says, "Who won the soccer match?" He understood very well what I was doing. I was acknowledging that I want to, I need to, I wish to talk about the Holocaust, but I always daily also don't want to. I have enough of it. And that acknowledgement is important. And one way you do it is through humor or with seriousness.